Oh, there it is, a new ride. 2005 Chevrolet C2500 extended cab pickup truck, full size 8-foot bed, 6.0 liter. No, it's not a Duramax. I almost feel compelled to video it every day just because of living here in an apartment complex with a lot of people that don't seem to know how to drive, but such is life, right? Okay, but here she is. She is my replacement for Big Blue. Rest in peace, Big Blue. More on that one later. But she's my 6.0. So it was 1999, year 2000. My growing family required a little bit more space than the single cab 86 C10 with the 4.3 liter 3-speed transmission, because the truck was sort of my primary vehicle at the time. I had a house and was a do-it-yourselfer. Had even acquired the trailer and the race car because Roger and I had connected with each other. So now I needed something just a little bit bigger in order to accommodate the family on trips, as well as yank around the trailer and do the other things that I was doing, for instance, with the nonprofit group, the Tennessee Aquatic Project, that I had done in the past in terms of making road trips, doing wilderness survival training, basically loading up that truck and hauling 5 kids out to the wilderness or to some place to scuba dive. But let's get to the issue with the truck. Not an issue, but basically a story. I didn't want to pay the over $50,000 price that everybody was asking for the brand new trucks and even Suburbans at the time, and knew that my skill and knowledge would enable me to build a truck cheaper than I could buy a truck. So in my quest to find one, I located 2 of the identical vehicles. One was a Silverado, and this one that you saw was the work truck version of it. The work truck was in far better shape. Floors were solid, rockers were full of sand. This truck was actually a brick mason's truck, so you can imagine there was not a straight panel on the truck. No worries. Mechanically, it was sound. In fact, it had a replacement engine, a Target Master engine placed in it, and when I inquired to the owner of the yard that it was stored in, he said they had put that replacement engine in the truck over 5 years ago, and the truck has been in the yard for 3 years. So I figured that that was the best buy. So I bought it. $600. Borrowed a tow dolly, hooked it up to the back of the 86 and towed it home, and proceeded to get to work on the vehicle to get it running. First, the order of business was to get it running so that I could get it tagged and begin to drive it. Next thing was, because it didn't have any straight panels on it, owing to the universal nature of Chevrolet vehicles, I took all of the good panels off of the 86 and put them onto the 83. And in due time, I actually sold the 86 for $450, making the initial price for the crew cab just a little bit less. So over time, again, this has become my daily driver. I went through the process like anybody else out there who does this as a hobby or even as a living, of planning, saving money up, buying the parts that I needed to fix this car. First it was mechanical parts, then it moved on to the interior pieces, making it structurally sound, replacing rocker panels and all the things that go into doing that, making my own small sheet metal patch panel for the one area in the floor pan that did have a hole in it. And I was successful. this was the first time I had used a welder. This was the first time that I had cut body panels and everything up. And this was even before the time where I knew of catalogs like LMC or rockauto.com. In fact, I ordered a lot of the parts from J.C. Whitney. You old-timers out there would know it. You young folks, yeah, y'all don't have a clue. At any rate, this process was done by myself on a truck that was basically a daily driver in the backyard outside. I didn't have a garage at the time. I had a shed in the back where I did all the delicate work in terms of rebuilding the transmission that would end up in a car, rebuilding the engine when it had to come out. But in terms of everything else, from the initial mechanical work to the paint, it was all done outside. No garage. Every component on that truck got touched with one exception. The center chunk on that rear end. The only component I did not have to touch. Everything else was done by me, by myself, in the backyard, including the paint with a $9 spray gun. Now, in the photographs that you see, no, I didn't record any of this back then. You didn't think about doing that. This medium was not a thing. So I took a few pictures of it, and they were heavily involving my sons at the time because they grew up with this truck. They grew up being shuttled to school with the truck. I remember one day my youngest son, 6th grader, when we pulled up one day, his friends were laughing at the truck that he rode in every day. Back then, it didn't have air conditioning, so the windows were down. And his friends were laughing at him, and he got out of the truck as they scoffed at him. And he said, "That's okay. My daddy built this truck with his hands. What did your daddy do? And anyway, one day this truck is going to be all one color. And you're not going to be laughing then." I'll never forget the first day of school the next year when we pulled up and Big Blue had become Big Blue. It had power windows, power door locks, factory air conditioning, new upholstery on the seats, carpet, the headliner was done. I had a stereo system with a CD, 6-speaker system, 2 10-inches in the back and 4-inch 2-ways in the doors. I mean, this thing was not. When we pulled up to the school, his friends saw him and they said, "Wow, Jeffrey, your dad got a new truck?" He said, "No, that's the same truck y'all were laughing at last year." They all came running up because they wanted to take a closer look at it and look inside, and they were amazed, and my son was so proud. Later on in life, both my sons would learn to drive in this truck. We took road trips in this truck. All the things that you would expect to do. We even pulled their first vehicles that they ever owned with this truck on the trailer. So it had a legacy. And all of this was done and started in the backyard, not in the garage. Fast forward to 2017, it was destroyed in an accident. It spent the rest of its life from 2017 becoming a teaching tool for the students at the school that I taught at as an automotive technology instructor, given its last before it ended up on the top of the scrap heap, where it was recycled in probably somebody's toaster today. So once again, life comes full circle. I've got my replacement truck, the 05 Silverado. It's a work truck, completely manual. Hasn't been converted like Big Blue was, but all the modifications that I've done to this truck have also been outside. I had no garage at the time, as you can see. It was the parking lot of an apartment complex, and I did everything in their parking area. Check with your particular place because your rules may be different, and I did some things and just apologized later, to be honest. But everything was done outside. In fact, all of my vehicles that I've personally recovered, rescued, and worked on, from my very first car, my 64 Impala Super Sport, my 71 Big Block Camaro, were all done outside. So the purpose of the video today is just to encourage you. Don't be swayed or dissuaded because of what you don't have. Go ahead and put your heart and soul into whatever project that you can. I know working outside is difficult, especially when it's cold, especially when it's hot. It's difficult. But this is your dream. This is your passion. See it through. Do as much as you can while you can. The satisfaction, the smiles for the miles are going to be worth all of the effort that you put into it. Trust me. Give it a shot. See if what I say isn't true. Willie at the No Bucks Garage. See ya.